willing, always continue to carry out my task and my responsibilities of promoting peace, tolerance, justice, and compassion to the corners of the world. I will continue to tell all people that in order to be relieved of the pain and suffering that we face today, we must adopt true justice and equality.
बाग में मिल्लत के है कोई गुलेराना खिला बाग में मिल्लत के है कोई गुलेराना खिला आई है बादे सबा गुलजार से मस्ताना वार आई है बादे सबा गुलजार से मस्ताना वार.
Billion people. Though impossible to calculate accurately, it is estimated that since the beginning of our recorded history, the world has known only about 300 years of peace. Each leader in the world desires to find a lasting solution to the issue that has plagued our beautiful planet centuries over centuries. There have been many movements, conferences, organizations and NGOs all over the world that promote the idea of world peace, but peace on earth has continued to be just an aspiration. Khilafat-e-Ahmadiyya is the heavenly institution that was prophesied by the peace-loving Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. History has shown that whenever the world suffers disorder and injustice, a spiritually guided man stands up and advises the world on how to achieve peace through the heavenly teachings of Islam. The world faced near total destruction during World War II when 60 million people lost their lives. This was a type of devastation the world had never seen before. During that time, the second Caliph, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, delivered a Friday sermon and said,
"This is such a disaster that from a war's perspective it may be acceptable, but as far as humanity is concerned, such bombardment of the cities cannot be considered legitimate. There have always been wars and there have always been animosities. But there had always been a limit that could not be crossed. Who can say that women and children were not living in the city that was bombarded? And who can say that the women and children were responsible for the war? Even if the young women are held responsible, even then the underage girls and boys are not considered to be responsible for the war. So even though our voices are unheard, this is our religious and moral duty, that we stand in front of the world and announce that such bloodshed is not lawful, whether the government feels good or bad about our announcement."
The same message of spreading peace has been inherited in the fifth Khilafat. As soon as Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad was elected as the fifth successor of the promised Messiah alayhi salam, he began his efforts to work for world peace. At the very beginning of the fifth Khilafat, Islam faced many challenges. It encountered immense danger from not only inside but also from outside. It was a time when the world was changing following the 9/11 attacks, and it was the most anti-Islamic environment in history. Muslims were rioting against non-Muslims, and the Western world had enormous anger and misconceptions about Islam. In the coming years, the situation escalated following the publication of satirical caricatures of the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Danish newspapers. This was a very critical time, as large numbers of people died after the publications as a result of riots. That led to tremendous challenges for Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper. Thus, the supreme head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community arose and responded in the most modest manner. It was at this time this leader of an apparently unknown but humble community rose and took a stand, equipped from the knowledge and wisdom that he had inherited from the promised Messiah alayhi salam. The platform for peace was set in 2004 when Huzur launched the annual National Peace Symposium. 5 years later, the goal to attain peace was set even higher with the launch of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Prize for the Advancement of Peace in 2009. Huzur has fearlessly addressed the Islamic solution to peace around the world, from Canada to Australia, from Capitol Hill to the British House of Commons, from the European Parliament to the Montage in Beverly Hills, and from Nagoya, Japan to Valencia in Spain. His addresses have been received with warmth and admiration from all parts of the world. To this day, Huzur has visited numerous different countries and given lectures to promote peace. One of the momentous occasions was in May 2012, when Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, delivered the address about Islam's teachings of loyalty and love for one's nation at the German military headquarters.
Very fascinated.
We observe that the world has become a global village. Mankind has become very closely knit together. The people of all nations, religions, and cultures are found in all countries. And so this requires that the leaders of every nation should consider and respect the feelings and sentiments of all people. The leaders and their governments should strive to create laws that foster an environment and spirit of truth and justice, rather than making laws that are a means of causing distress and frustration to the people.
Huzur delivered a historic address at the Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. on the 27th of June 2012. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, met with the leading congressmen and senators and other leaders at the Capitol Hill. The meeting, which was the first of its kind, provided an opportunity to some of the most influential leaders in the United States to hear firsthand Islam's message of world peace. Huzur spoke about the path to peace, just relations between nations, and told leaders of global influence that true justice and peace can never be achieved without
Task that has been.
The truth is that peace and justice are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. And certainly, this principle is something that all wise and intelligent people understand.
Brussels, a city that is known for its European Parliament building, this time hosted the Khalifa of Islam, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. Huzur delivered an historic address on the topic of the key to peace, global unity, to the members of the Parliament of the European Union.
Another key principle Islam teaches is that in an effort to develop peace, it is necessary for all parties to never display any form of pride or arrogance. This was perfectly illustrated by the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, when he famously said, a black person is not superior to a white person, and nor is a white person superior to a black person.
On May the 11th, 2013, Huzur was welcomed by various leaders at the prestigious Montage Hotel in Beverly Hills, a venue famous for hosting heads of state and high-ranking political officials. Upon arrival, Huzur addressed about a dozen media outlets in a 30-minute press conference on a range of global issues. He then participated in a group meeting with prominent political officials that included Lieutenant Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, Chief of the Police for the City of Los Angeles, and 4 other elected members of Congress.
Today, when we, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, raise the slogan of love for all and hatred for none as a means to establish global peace, we do so directly in fulfillment of the teachings of the Holy Quran and the practice of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him.
For all the events you go to, you will seldom see the golden key presented. Today you will see the golden key presented to you, Your Holiness.
Thank you so much, Dennis. I shared my words upstairs, so I will keep them genuinely brief. I've seen 4 keys to the city given out in my 12 years as a city council member, and this is a very special honor indeed that is reserved for the most special of visitors. And this key has been given to only a few, a Nobel Prize winner that I know of, a head of state, and it's most fitting that for you as representative of the Ahmadiyya community here, that we give this to you today. God bless you, and thank you very much.
After his visit to the United States, Huzur Anwar took the same message of peace to other world leaders. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih was benevolently welcomed to the New Zealand Parliament in the capital city, Wellington. Huzur addressed the members of the government in the Grand Hall of the Parliament House. Attending the event were members of Parliament, city councilmen, professors, police commissioners, and many foreign council members. High commissioners and ambassadors of Israel and Iran were also present.
The means of today's war include aerial bombardment, poison gas, and even chemical weapons. And as I said, there is also the potential use of the most horrific weapon of all, the nuclear bomb. Consequently, the wars of today are entirely different to those of the past. Because today wars could potentially wipe mankind from the face of the earth.
I think that it was a very important message, and I think that it is a message that can be welcomed and accepted by everyone. We're talking about peace, and who can oppose peace? And I think that the message that he had spoken, the perspective that he has given is extremely important.
His Holiness, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, has traveled globally to promote and facilitate services to humanity. Presidents and heads of states regularly meet him. He has also written letters to the leaders of the world, including His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, the Prime Minister of Canada, Stephen Harper, the custodian of the 2 holy places of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, the Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China, Wen Jiabao, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, David Cameron, Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, President of the French Republic, Francois Hollande, Her Majesty the Queen of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth Realms, Elizabeth II, and to the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Hosseini Khamenei, calling them to join hands to restore world peace. In the troubled times of today, this is the only voice that calls for peace. In the darkness of the world, Khilafat is the only ray of light that can illuminate the body, mind, and soul. This is the only fortress left for the protection of mankind, and the world is now beginning to realize this.